So about a year ago, we did a video where we made some antique muzzleloading propellant out of cotton balls. We used cotton balls as the carbon source. Now, I've gotten a lot of requests to do cotton, but apparently cotton balls wasn't what a lot of folks had in mind. They wanted to see blue jeans or t-shirts or something like that. But as luck would have it, Mrs. Black Powder ordered us some new bed sheets the other day, and as I was taking the old ones out to the trash can, I noticed that the tag said that they were 100% cotton. Now, these were made by the My Pillow outfit, and I don't have any complaints. But the elastic is just wore out, so they keep popping off when you get in and out of bed. So I decided that this might be a pretty good opportunity to make another batch of cotton antique muzzleloading propellant, but this time we're using an old bed sheet. Now, I did wash them, just in case I'm sure someone's going to ask me. They were clean. I cut the elastic parts off of it, and I couldn't fit the whole thing in my can, and I put it in the pyrolyzer. We cooked it for 2 hours at 600 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I've got a lot of new subscribers. I do always put a link in the description for the long video on how we make antique muzzleloading propellant, but there's a couple of things that we do that I get questions on all the time that I'm going to go over really quick. One, we refine all of our nitrate. I don't care, even if it comes in a bag that says 99%, we still go through the trouble of refining it. Derek has some lab equipment. We use a vacuum filter. After we have our cleaned, refined nitrate, I put it in a toaster oven and I toast it at 150 degrees for about 40 minutes just to make sure it is as dry as we can possibly make it. After that, we put it in the blender and run it for about 15 minutes just so you're not putting big old chunks of nitrate in there. It cuts down on milling time, we have found. Also, as far as the blender is concerned, we do the same thing with the charcoal. After we get the charcoal out of the pyrolyzer and it's cool enough to handle, we put it in the blender and we run it for about 15 minutes. This makes a big difference as far as cutting down mill time. So for the folks that are always asking about, do you use a magic bullet or a blender? We started off using a magic bullet. I broke that thing a long time ago. So we use a blender and it works really, really well. It'll cut down on mill time. If you just take a big old chunk of charcoal and throw it in there, don't bother doing that. You really need to break that stuff up. A blender works really well. That's what we use. The sulfur and the charcoal, well, and the nitrate too, we store once it's all blended up in a vacuum chamber with desiccant, again, to make it as dry as we possibly can. Why do you want it as dry as you possibly can get it? Because when you put it in your ball mill, ours is made out of a treadmill, and we use a PVC jar with brass media. If you use charcoal and nitrate that haven't been dried, oftentimes what you'll see is you'll get clumping. So when you put your components in there and you'll mill it, it'll cake up on the sides at the bottom. You'll have to shake it or knock on it and get it all loosened up. If you dry everything as much as you can, it'll cut down on that and it makes your milling process much more efficient. Hopefully that wasn't too long-winded. So this stuff is made from a cotton bed sheet. The tag says 100% cotton. It is at a ratio of 77-13-10. That's 77 parts potassium nitrate, 13 parts charcoal, 10 parts sulfur. It is compressed to a density of 1.75 grams per cubic centimeter. And the size that we always test, unless otherwise stated, is 3F. The two firearms that we tested this in are my Kibler Southern Mountain Rifle 45 caliber using 50 grains of powder, a 20 thousandths patch, and a 440 diameter swaged lead ball. The revolver that we use is a Uberti Remington New Model Army, or an 1858. You get the idea. With 25 grains and a 454 lead round ball. No patch, no grease, no wad, because I don't want to spray it all over my chronograph. The chronograph is a Garmin 0X1. Anything else? I think that's it. Now, we did test some 3F Swiss through the same two firearms on the same day. Now, I'm not going to show you that. I already showed you that in the Alder Buckthorn video. But we did test that on the same day. So we do have some chronograph results to put it up against using 3F Swiss. Again, same charge, 50 grains in the rifle, 25 grains in the revolver. So here's how it went. So this is our Bedsheet black powder. Now the tag said it was 100% cotton, and we all know they wouldn't lie to us. But I am expecting this stuff to not be as clean. So we'll see how it goes. So same as always, 25 grains, 4.54 round ball.
That looked fast.
Wow, or not, 943.
Whoa.
938. 944.
Wow.
913. 878.
That's the low.
You're going to hit a chain.
928. Yeah, little gummier.
Yeah,
After every batch that we've tried all at the same time here, I take the cylinder out and I clean it up so it rolls easy. But after that, that's a little gummy.
a little crunchy.
So that stuff averaged 924, but it had that one...
Had that 878 shot.
That one shot that was a little bit lower than the rest. So that had a spread of 65. It still averaged 924, which is practically the same as the Swiss and the Alder Buckthorn. In fact, if it wasn't for that one low shot, it probably would have been a little bit faster on average, but who cares? I think you could call that practically the same velocity-wise as the 3F Swiss.
Those first
Definitely a little dirtier, I would say, though.
Those first 4 shots were high 930s and mid 940s. So it was those last 2 shots, the 913 and the 878, that dropped our average.
Still powerful.
Yeah.
Still very powerful.
Yeah.
And these things, they got a lot more capacity. You could fit a lot more in there than 25 grains with a round ball.
You bet.
Okay, so now this is our Bedsheet powder, which so far has surprised us. In the Remington New Army, it was practically the same as Swiss's Velocity.
A little dirtier.
Seemed dirtier. So we'll see how it does in the Southern Mountain Rifle. If I can get it to go off. I did nap my flint a little bit. So.
Oh, did you?
Yes, because I'm too cheap to just replace it. So here is the Bedsheet powder. We're going to shoot at the middle square. Oh, yeah. 1901.
What?
Ain't that a bitch? Wow. Now, when we did the cotton ball black powder a year ago, however long that was, I had a lot of people say that they would like to see denim. And
That's just denser cotton.
old wore out Bedsheet's about the best I could do at the moment. So. And I just cleaned this thing too. Just swabbed it and has 1901 first shot. Okay, it didn't feel horrible.
And that shot is damn near bullseye, probably half an inch under that black square.
Okay. Now here's shot number 2. Come on. Gonna replace your flint yet? I will when it needs one. $18.86.
Dang. Really? Dang.
That's what it says. 1886.9
Nine.
actually.
Yeah.
If you really want to get technical, that's pretty close to 1887.
Which is pretty close to 1890. And 1890 is pretty close to 1900. So, there you go.
Yeah, see?
Might as well be a 1900 shot.
Practically. Yeah, that feels, well,
Yeah.
I don't know. In my subjective view, I'd say it feels a little crunchier.
Okay.
I had a guy tell me in the comment, I don't know what video he was watching, but he says, your rifle always goes off. It never has a problem. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. Okay, shot number 3 with the Bedsheet. $18.84. I saw it.
No, you didn't.
Oh, this is how you get me to replace my flint. When it flies off, you're like, oh, it's gone. I have to get a new one.
No, I don't want to get my ass kicked, so I'm not going to keep it from you. Yeah, it's just a little worn out. Just, just a little. You might as well be hitting it with a chunk of brick.
Oh. Don't exaggerate.
It does need to be napped a bit, though.
I only got to get one more off for this. And
1884.
yeah, this stuff is...
What is going on? Yeah. Now, I'd be really happy if we swabbed it and it wasn't that dirty. But then again, you still need to source cotton bed sheets.
Well, the cool thing about the bed sheet is, if you got an old bed sheet, that goes a long way.
Yeah. Give it a good wash. Make sure there's no
it's
butt cheese in there.
It feels dirty.
Yeah, that
it was washed. The bed sheet was washed. Oh, come on. We can get a couple more out of that.
Yeah, yeah. You can get shots out of it by, you get sparks by hitting a hammer with, a brick.
Well, it might come to that. I only need one more for this.
Yeah, for this one.
Okay. So shot number 4 with the bed sheet. Yeah. 1883.9.
What's our average?
Wow. 1889 with a max spread of 17.
Wow. That's impressive. 17?
Well, 17.1.
Wow.
All right.
That's tight.
Now here's where it's going to be like, oh.
Yeah. Just like that creosote powder we made all them years ago. Wow, this is the fastest stuff we've ever made.
Yeah, you swab your barrel, it comes out looking like tar.
It was. It was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much, much dirtier. So with that, it's like you get Swiss power with GoX cleanliness, I guess.
Yeah. We've seen worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen worse.
It's
No, this is. I would call this. I'd call it tolerable.
yeah. I don't think it's as bad as Schutzen.
No, I think Schutzen is worse than Goex.
It is the filthiest powder I've ever used.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
It's up there with Goex Power.
I'd say I think it's a little bit more powerful than Goex.
Is it?
Yeah, kind of in between Schutzen and Schutzen's in between Swiss and Goex, I think.
But it is dirty.
I don't know. I suppose we could test it and find out.
Yeah, I think I still got some laying around.
Yeah, this stuff.
It's dirty.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
It
reminds me of Goex.
Yeah. Not horrible, but
no, not horrible, but good velocity, good power,
great power,
and it was as good as Swiss and the Remington.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So here's our bedsheet powder. 1, 2, 3, 4, all pretty good. Interesting how it hit a little bit lower. That's usually right where I'm aiming, is a 6 o'clock hold, and that's all right where they went. So can't complain too much about that. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but we thought those results were really, really interesting. I wasn't expecting the bed sheet to be right on par with Swiss in the velocity, at least it was in the revolver, but it was. But I could tell, now, and again, I was cleaning that revolver after every 6 shots, after every cylinder full, I took it apart and cleaned it. I could tell after the bedsheet powder, it was definitely dirtier. As far as the velocities go, the bedsheet averaged 924 with a max spread of 65, where the 3F Swiss averaged 932. Now, it did have a wide spread. You can see the spread is 108, and it had one max shot of 1,015. And I think the reason why that was is I had mixed up my 440 and 454 diameter balls, and I had put 25 grains in there, and I dropped a 440 ball in there, and so I had to turn it over, and there might have still been a little bit of powder in that one chamber. So even if you want to discount that high shot with the Swiss, you're talking 915 with a max spread of 25 for the Swiss versus 924 with a max spread of 65 for the bedsheet. I would call that practically the same. But again, I could feel that it was dirtier. When I was rotating it, cocking that hammer, I could tell it was dirtier. As for the rifle, this is where things get interesting. The cotton bedsheet averaged 1889 with a max spread of 17, where our 3F Swiss averaged 1840 with a max spread of 68. So again, we were not expecting it to outdo Swiss by almost 30 feet per second. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That's a gain of almost 50. Whoops. Yeah, sorry. I have to check my math. That is what? 48 point something. 48.1. So we were not expecting to see that kind of increase over the Swiss. We were pretty surprised. Again, if there's anybody new here that's watching, I always check the density versus weight and volume with my volumetric measure to make sure that it's actually throwing 50 grains in my volumetric measure, and I'll show you that just so everyone's on the same page. But again, yeah, we were surprised to see that kind of velocity gain. As far as the velocity gain from the cotton ball that we did about a year ago, we could see that that is well over 100 feet per second worth of increase from the cotton ball. Not quite as dirty, judging from this picture of the cotton ball patch that I have saved in my phone. But this is a 48-hour mill when back then we were only doing between 24 and 36. We still do 36 at least now, but generally speaking, 48 is really what I like. Longer mill times will make a bad carbon source decent and a decent carbon source pretty damn good, which is what we're seeing here as far as the velocity, but still it's not very clean. It's a little on the dirty side, I would say. I'm not going to give you a lecture about how we have really high standards around here and all that, but I would say it's somewhere in between GoX and Schutzen fouling. The velocity is faster than Swiss, which is always nice, but for a lot of years, we were able to make powder that was very powerful, but was absolutely filthy dirty. So we set our sights, no pun intended, on making clean powder. So making powerful powder is good, but making powerful and clean powder is really the trick. And it seems to me that cotton is just not a very clean carbon source, and I don't really know why. Now, I suppose someone would probably make the argument that there is blue dye in that bed sheet, and that could be making it dirty, and yeah, I suppose so. But this stuff was cleaner than the white cotton ball powder that we did a year ago. So keep that in mind. So overall, very fast and pretty dirty powder. Personally, I would rather have powder like the buckthorn that we did at the same time. We filmed it at the same time, but you guys saw it last week, where it might be a little slower than Swiss by 20 or 30 feet per second, but it's cleaner. Making powder that is cleaner than Swiss is hard to do. That is not an easy task. That's why I like balsa so much. Balsa makes ridiculously clean powder. But that alder buckthorn, to me, that was as clean as balsa and about that fast too, which is interesting. It kind of punches a big hole in the hardwoods don't make good powder story. Because buckthorn is pretty damn hard. But I have had people that are into woodworking tell me that just because it's physically hard doesn't make it a hardwood, or something like that. So I don't do that kind of stuff. I make antique muzzleloading propellant. I don't do wood stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. And as usual, folks, if you thought this video didn't suck, do me a favor and hit the like button. Consider subscribing. And if you did think it sucked, go make your own damn video.